Hello and welcome to the Ticket Stub, your favorite place for movie news and reviews. We broadcast live every Thursday at high noon on 104.5 and 106.1 from beautiful downtown Conroe. We're also live on Facebook, so check us out there. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at @_TicketStub. Shoot us a message. We may shout it out on the show. Ticket Stub is sponsored by Movie Tavern. Movies never tasted so good, but we have more sponsorships available. It's a great way to get the word out if you have a local business, but we're also national. So visit or check us out on any podcast platform. Visit irlonestar.com for rates and stats. Drop us a line at 936-647-3776. And do not forget to leave us a 5-star review on any of those platforms. My name is Connor. I'm one of the hosts of the show, joined in studio, as always, by my good friend Chris Appel. How you doing, bud?
Doing well.
And Dick. He's thumbs up. He's good. He's busy getting the video ready. We are HD.
Yes.
A little too HD, maybe.
I know.
Maybe a little too high def.
I was saying off air we needed to hire a makeup artist. So if you know anybody that's cheap or will work, for free,
I need a little rouge. Isn't that a makeup term? A little blush.
A little rouge.
I don't know. Anyways, glad you joined us today. We have got a great show for you today. We are going to do a group rewind.
Sorry about that.
Oh, hey, Dick.
Yeah, we were live on Facebook then when no one could hear us because I didn't switch the channel.
Oh, okay.
But I did.
So
we're
now,
live. We're back.
Now
We're
they
back
can
on
hear
Facebook.
us on Facebook. All right. Well, today during the show, we're going to do a group rewind of License to Wed, which is the movie that we all watched together.
I mean, new family classic, guys.
Yeah,
I think we're going to watch it once a year.
Criterion collection, I would say. And then we're going to do before that, we're going to do some extended movie news. And we'll do a grand ticket giveaway, opportunity to win some tickets at the end of the show. We want to tell you about a couple things coming up. We are doing we're going to be at the Houston premiere of American Fish Trap, which is the movie directed, written by Chase and Parker, who we had on the show last week. Was that 2 weeks? Last week?
It was last week.
Last week, man. Time. It's tough to get the time under control. But we are going to do a show. It'll be kind of a bonus show. It's not going to be a traditional one, but we're going to be interviewing the people on the red carpet.
Yeah, it'll be like total red carpet coverage like you'd see at the Oscars or before an award show, which is the same thing as before the Oscars.
Yeah, or even
Same
before
thing.
any
Before
the Emmys,
anything.
before any of the shows.
I know.
This will be, and I guess we'll get to talk to some of the actors in the short in American Fish Trap, and I think it'll be fun. And we're also going to be there. We're going to be at the screening. We're going to get to watch the movie afterwards as well, and so that'll be fun. I'm excited to talk about it when we get back together after that. Also next week. Dick, Chris, tell us what's happening next week.
Well, next week we're really excited. We have the guy that saved the Tim Allen television show Last Man Standing, Chad Miller. He's the guy that did all the petitions and stuff for the fans, and Fox saw it and they brought back the show. Because of that reason, he got to go to the premiere, the first taping of the new season 7.
No, he was just a guy, right?
Yeah, he was just a guy.
Not all heroes wear capes. This guy is just a guy who loved the show.
Exactly, yes. And he started this petition, and tons of people signed it, and that's why the show got brought back.
Chris, how pissed are you that you're not that guy? Does this feel like a missed opportunity for you?
I don't know if I have like the discipline and work ethic to be able to actually pull that off.
So was he was like hardcore, like messaging every day or something?
Yeah, yes. Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm excited to get to hear the story of how he saved Last Man Standing.
Very cool.
And what we've talked about is next week's show is doing the TV stub instead of the ticket stub, where we're going to talk more TV than we do movies, because he is bringing back the Last Man Standing television show. And it would just be a way to kind of mix things up a little bit. We always come and talk every week about movies. And so for a week, we thought it'd be a fun idea to talk about television and maybe what's going on in the world of TV. Maybe do some rewinds of some television series that we've watched or that we really like that maybe we want to turn people on to. Maybe there's ones that people don't know about. And we'll talk to Chad and get to hear all about Last Man Standing. And Chris, you love Tim Allen so much, you're going to go see him, right?
Yes, I am. Yes.
Yeah.
He's coming to Houston on September 22nd, and I will be there.
Okay. Are you gonna?
Did we ever ask him if he could do that Home Improvement sound that Tim Allen makes?
Who, Chris?
Yeah. Have you?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
What do they call that? The Allen or
That's
the Timmy?
yeah.
Or
It's a grunt.
The grunt.
It's
The
like
grunt.
that kind of thing. Or then you go like, oh. Yeah, I can do it.
Yeah, you practice. You definitely practiced that before.
Yeah.
Anyways, Last Man Standing.
like,
Excited.
it's like
Chad
your
Miller.
Batman.
Yeah.
It's like your Batman.
Yes.
Well, we've had some guests last week, and then next week we're trying to do that to keep the show a little variety. So Chase and Parker from last week, American Fish Trap premiere, and we'll release that on at least audio. Dick, are we going to be able to have video at the American Fish Trap premiere?
I mean, if y'all are really nice to me.
Okay, if we butter you up a little
There's
bit.
booze.
Anyways,
If there's booze.
For sale.
No, I'm just kidding.
Such a jerk,
I'm a
dude.
bottom line guy.
I'm a businessman.
Yeah.
So, anyways,
I need popcorn and water.
we'll be releasing that as bonus footage on our podcast and hopefully our video feeds as well. So check that out. The red carpet. It'll be something a little different, a little fun, kind of in line with our post-credit scenes. Are we gonna call it? I guess it's not a post-credit scene.
Red carpet special.
Red
man.
carpet special.
Yeah.
American Fish Trap, the Houston premiere. We have exclusive. Well, not exclusive. We have exclusive red carpet video podcast coverage of the Houston premiere,
Along with the other press corps that's there, but yes.
No, exclusive. I'm going to be elbowing them out of the way. All right. Well, we're going to, a little bit later on, we're going to talk about License to Wed, which I'm so excited to hear y'all's opinions on. This was one of those ones that...
I'm going to be honest, I was glad it was on Netflix.
glad you didn't pay any dollars for
Yeah,
it?
glad I didn't pay any dollars.
$0.
That was a pleasant surprise because I'm pretty sure I buy like every show that we rewind.
Why?
Instead
Except
of being
Princess
free.
Mononoke.
Because all the ones that
By the
I
way,
can't find that.
by
I told
the
you that.
way-
He still hasn't rewound Princess
Yeah,
Mononoke?
yeah, you still haven't watched it. You lost.
I told you I could not find it.
I showed you where you could find it.
Stream illegalanime.com
wasn't-
or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Chris has that bookmarked.
Yeah. I love anime. Let me tell you, it's my favorite thing.
License to Wed is on Netflix. We'll talk about it. This was one that was a very prone to tune-outs. I don't know if y'all experienced the same thing, but there were several times where
Yes.
all of a sudden I realized I was looking at my phone and there had been several minutes
That
where
is
I
so
had
funny.
not...
Yes, that is
Are we
exactly
when we
the same
get into
thing
that?
happened to
When
me.
we get
Not
into
yet, not
okay,
yet, not yet. No,
Yeah.
no, this is called a tease.
Man, this stuff has a lot of caffeine in it. This is a little too
Yeah,
much.
that's what I was worried
He's
about.
drinking the quadruple shot from Conroe Coffee right next door. The quadruple shot chai something or other. All right, well, let's hop into some movie news. We'll do a little extended movie news today, since all we've got after that is the group rewind. An article from RollingStone.com. I think he went to throw up. I'm not sure what he just did.
No, I went get some water.
Okay. An article from RollingStone.com said that there are some things that we can learn from the summer movie season of 2018. So I'm going to run through them here real quick, and I want to get y'all's opinion. Chris working at the theater, Dick, I don't know if you even saw any of these movies, but here are the 10 things we learned. Number 1, documentaries ruled. There were several documentaries that got some prominence. Number 2, we're not sick of superhero movies yet. Number 3, we love The Rock, but we won't see The Rock in just anything. Number 4, indie movies found their niche. Number 5, diversity proved good for the box office. Number 6, multiplex crowds want sequels or massive sharks. So I guess multiplex means the big theaters. Chris, is that what multiplex means?
Multiplex is more than one screen of a
Oh,
theater.
well, that's like every theater, right?
Exactly.
No,
Yeah,
okay.
it's just
No,
a fancy
not
word.
really.
This guy's just trying to. He's trying to
Not really.
use fancy words.
Like I wouldn't consider River Oaks Theater a multiplex.
Is there
theater.
more than one screen?
Technically, yeah, but two of them are half the size of one of them.
Well, it's still a multiplex.
Is there multi of the plexes? Boom. Number 7, Star Wars is no longer invincible. Number 8, the earliest hints of the Oscar race emerged. Number 9, Marvel had an incredible summer. And number 10, Tom Cruise is getting better with age. Do y'all agree with all that? I mean, Chris, obviously you already got a little toot about this guy's article. You think his tone is kind of smug or something?
No. I think he's generally correct. I don't know if superhero fatigue has not set in as what he is saying.
He did say that, correct?
I believe that it is a bit.
Yeah. They're still, but they're still making money, big money.
Yeah, they are.
I don't know. The one that I really disagree with is, well, I don't know, his article's funny. He says, we love The Rock, but we won't see him in just anything. And then his example is that Skyscraper only made $293 million. And I was like, oh, okay.
Well, that one also wasn't advertised as well as the other ones that he was in. So
Part of his point, I think, is that a lot of The Rock's success has been foreign in the last couple of movies and not domestic, maybe. China has become like The Rock's go-to. But part of it, I think he's gearing his movies that direction, The Skyscraper was set in like either China or Japan. I mean, it was set over there. And so I think it was geared towards.
well, you can't compare Jumanji, which is Disney's behind that one,
Yeah.
to Skyscraper. I mean, Disney has a marketing machine that's behind their film, so it's going to be astronomical. The amount of grosses that does compared to Skyscraper. So it's not accurate. People still go. They love The Rock in America. Everybody loves him.
His last 3 worldwide grosses: Jumanji, $962 million; Rampage, $426 million; Skyscraper, $293 million.
Yeah, people just aren't going.
They're just not going, I guess. He's not really.
Well, I mean,
that
you could say the
successful.
same statement like the guy said about Star Wars. I mean, people still want to go see Han Solo. It just didn't make $1 billion like every other Star Wars movie. So,
Yeah. Like, what are you comparing it to?
Yeah.
I guess.
I mean, but certainly Star Wars is hurt more through word of mouth.
Yeah.
a lot of people do not like the new Star Wars.
Well, the problem with Star Wars is for the first time, if the movie quality's not there, I think the box office does suffer a little bit. You know, like they're not going to show up just, there's a core that will, but the world's not going to show up just because it has the name Star Wars on it.
Well, I have a feeling that the people making, like Disney's not really reporting how much it really costs to make these movies or what the like cost of business of a Star Wars movies is today. Because if you remember when Han Solo was released, within 3 weeks they've announced postponement of the several Star Wars saga story movies.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking to myself, well, dude, you're making at least $400 million. How much money are they spending on these movies? Like, because that to me, if you're guaranteed $400 million, then just don't spend that much money on a movie. Spend $100 million and make $400 or $300 million. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering how much effort and time and money is really going into these movies, because clearly they saw it not being worth it.
But on the flip side of that, with something like Star Wars franchise, you have to look bigger picture than just the box office too, though. Because as they release those, it keeps the toys, it keeps the T-shirts.
Yeah, but that
keeps
to me,
the school binders.
well, to me,
all that stuff stays relevant.
To me, that evens out though. Regardless if it's a good movie or a bad movie, kids are still going to want Star Wars toys.
That's my point. I guess I'm agreeing with you then,
Yeah.
because I'm saying that even if you release a movie that maybe is a little bit subpar, it keeps Star Wars like in the ether or in the cultural.
And they're not absolutely crappy movies to the point where Star Wars degrades in quality overall. I mean, it might a little bit just through the fan base, like the hardcore people, but they're still going. Those people are still going to go see the movie twice.
Yeah.
The people who talk smack. So.
For sure. All right. Well, TheRinger.com, a favorite website of mine. Actually, we had Shea Serrano on like a million years ago. He's from TheRinger.com. They brought out I would just encourage everybody who loves movies to check out this article. It was The Ringer's Guide to Fall Movies, and it basically has trailers and a little blurb about, a ton of different movies. Really too much for us to talk about. But a couple that I did want to highlight. First, so 3 in particular. The first is they've got the new Girl in the Spider's Web movie coming out November 9th, which is part of the Girl in the Dragon Tattoo saga. And one of the things I'm curious, I don't know if y'all know anything about this, it was just interesting to me, but it's like they rebooted it, but they recast it, and I guess I know that there's a book series and some movie series that this all builds off of, but the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo was Rooney Mara, and now they've just totally recast Claire Foy into this role. But this is
But don't they look almost identical?
They do look very similar. Yeah. So that's what's kind of funny to me is like, and she has the same like weird look to, the character is very interesting looking, I would say, but very short hair, very weird haircut, very pale, things like that. Do you think that they're expecting that people won't really catch it?
I don't really understand why, because the other one wasn't that very.
It wasn't that successful.
And we're not talking like $1 billion, $400 million successful. Like we count that as unsuccessful. Yeah. And then also, especially with the branding of it, it's almost like they're contractually obligated to the writer, saying, "Yeah, we paid to produce 3 films from your stuff. We got to make them."
But maybe because they're all foreign films. They all came out in a different country before.
Sweden,
coming
right?
out here
With Numi Rapace.
I think so.
Well, yeah, but again, I think it's like they have an obligation to make these somehow, one way or another, and they have to make.
Well, it may be like Spider-Man, where if you don't make a Spider-Man movie every so many years, you lose the rights to it.
Yeah, but do people really want to keep the rights to this?
To
remake it every 20 years?
And what's funny to me is not only it's not like they're not just throwing the towel in. I mean, Claire Foy, and I guess you could argue with me here, but she is by all accounts a rising star in Hollywood. I would say, star of The Crown Netflix series, had 2 seasons. That was one of the most popular shows on Netflix. She's in this. She's also in the First Man movie that's coming out about Buzz Aldrin or Neil Armstrong. Yeah. She's in that one as well. What's funny is in Girl in the Spider's Web, her hair is very short. In the next one, her hair is like medium length. Like you can obviously tell that she filmed these in a particular order to get the hair right. But anyways, to me, they're not throwing it away. Like I think they're backing this to hopefully be successful. I've seen previews for it already in movies. So I don't know. It's interesting for a movie that wasn't that popular. What I hope is that it doesn't build too heavily on the other one, even though I saw it, but I know a lot of people probably didn't. So it's actually a pretty good movie, The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Kind of weird.
I like how that was Daniel Craig was in
Daniel Craig, yeah.
And I like how he went through this whole thing where he was like trying to get out of shape for it. And then there's a part where his shirt comes up and he's still like really jacked. He's like, I gained like 40 pounds. I'm like, shut up.
Yeah, muscle. Am I right?
Shut up.
Yeah.
Shut up, Daniel.
All right, another movie talked about on this fall preview is A Star Is Born with Bradley Cooper. Have we talked about that yet on?
I don't believe so. No.
So he is like a blotchy, red-faced country star. I don't know what's wrong, if he has some sort of a skin disease or something in this movie, but the trailer, he looks absolutely terrible.
That's just what he looks like now.
Is that just it? He's got kind of the long hair. He's supposed to be some sort of like Texas country kind of guy. And he picks up Lady Gaga somewhere along the line, and she has the voice of an angel, and then they, I think, fall in love maybe or something. I don't know, but to me, this feels like absolute Oscar bait. I'm not saying it's not going to be good. I have no idea if it's going to be good or bad. I'm kind of excited for it. But is he fishing here? What do you think?
Well, he directed it too, right?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
I think maybe he might be. I don't know. So he must have recognized something in Lady Gaga. But wasn't it where she wouldn't do the movie unless he would sing his own songs in it? I think that was.
Oh, see, I didn't hear that.
Yeah. So he actually had to sing and stuff in it as well. But I don't know. It doesn't really seem like an Oscar movie to me.
Oh, really? It's like music. Down on his luck, finds a girl that inspires him. They have a weird romance.
What's that Johnny Cash movie? That
Walk the Line?
Yeah, and that did well at the Oscars, I guess. So maybe it is. Maybe he's going in that vein.
I think this is grittier, man. Gritty.
Oh,
This has gritty written all over it.
Uh-huh.
Well, the issue with those kind of movies is the trailer always kind of misrepresents what's going to happen in the film, because it's the standard, he's down on his luck or whatever. But then they're going to throw some twist like he's a pedophile or something.
Oh, man.
You're just like, man, didn't see that coming.
Wow. You heard it here first, guys.
Supposedly, Barbara Streisand gave a thumbs up to this movie.
Oh,
she was in the original.
Well, in that case. Oh, is there another? This is a remake?
This is a remake.
See, I didn't even know that. Didn't even know.
Yeah.
Okay, I was going to say, wow, thanks, Babs. Appreciate the thumbs up. Oh, that's news. All right, moving on. We got a couple more I want to talk about here. There is a Harvey movie to premiere in Houston. I think it's just in September. You'll get Tim Allen. You're gonna miss the premiere of Harvey, September 22nd, premiering in Houston. The producer is someone who I don't know anything about, really hasn't done much, but was personally trapped in the waters of the storm. A Houston native. I don't know that she was like trapped with an inch to breathe, but was trapped in her home, not able to get out.
Mm-hmm.
Made this movie. It appears from this photo gallery that they were like filming during Harvey. Like there's a picture of like all this camera equipment like with all the water everywhere. I think it's not a documentary, but kind of like there's real humans that are playing themselves. I think this is a very Houston story here, if you have anybody listening from far off. But I'm just interested in this. I mean, I'm interested in the fact that it looks like they were filming during the storm. It's all about the storm. I don't know what the story is here.
I doubt that they were filming during the storm. I just don't see that being the case.
Look at the pictures.
But I think it may be a bit too soon. I mean, the area is still not recovered from that yet. It's kind of like the movie World Trade Center that Oliver Stone did.
Yeah.
And we're going to say Rip Van Winkle?
No, I wasn't going to say Rip.
It sounded like that's what you're going to say.
Sorry, no.
But anyway, that movie, it came out like in 2003, so it was only like 2 years after 9/11, and it just didn't work. I mean, nobody really wanted to go see it. It was depressing.
Well, I think also, Chris, though, like that movie also is regarded as like Nicolas Cage's better films, which is kind of weird to me because it isn't very good. But
but it was a pretty big bomb.
Yeah, and then also on top of that, it's like what stories in Harvey are so unique that it's going to make a good movie unless you just make up something.
Well, I think it can be when they take a little bit of creative license later on down the road, like 10, 15 years down the road.
That's what I think.
But they crank it out now. People are going to be like, that's not what happened. That's not what happened. This is ridiculous. Stuff like that.
I don't know how much of a plot I mean, there were very heroic people in the midst of all the Harvey stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know how much of it was like a plot that could sustain a movie, where like.
That's what happened to World Trade Center is they try to take a real story and the insights of a firefighter. And I was like, well, it's good, but it's not what movie good is.
I mean, I feel like a lot of what you saw with the people who were doing really like, heroic or brave things, but it was them like boating around, picking people up and driving them to the shore. And I just don't know that that's like a plot, I mean, it's great events that happen.
Well, that's why I'm saying that they could wait 10 or 15 years and actually take a little bit of license with it.
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting. I don't know. It's happening. So there we go.
They should just do a movie about J.J. Watt.
There we go.
They should.
He raised like $43 million or $34 million or whatever. A whole lot of money.
$42 million.
Okay, fine, dude. No, you have to correct me. I was 1 million off. CinemaBlend.com talks about Charlie Hunnam. He lost 40 pounds. There's this new movie out. It's actually a remake, Papillon. And I want to see this. It's at Market Street here in the area right now. But he lost 40 pounds to play this role. He's normally super jacked and cut. He's one of those kind of guys.
I have no idea who that is.
Dude, Sons of Anarchy, Pacific Rim. He was the main guy in Pacific.
I have no idea.
That's impossible that you don't have any idea.
I don't know who he is.
Arthur, Legend of the Sword.
What is that?
Okay. Now you literally are the GM of a movie.
Well, let me
theater.
think. So I don't know who Tony Hunan is or whatever his name is.
Okay, that's racist, by the way. Tony Hunan. Yeah, Charlie Hunnam.
That's not racist.
I'm just kidding. But Chris,
I will look him up.
You own a movie theater.
I do not own a theater.
Okay.
Let's clear that room. That's the room up. I hear that a lot. I do not own the Grand.
You manage a movie.
I do not own that place. I am
I
am the manager.
You hear
of the
that,
place.
Minions of the Grand?
Yes.
You can do whatever you want
I do not
now.
own the
He's
theater.
given up his power.
Here's why
I hear that a lot, and that is incorrect.
This is why the Ticket Stub suffers here, guys, because every week you're bringing some 1970s horror film to the show, and you don't even know who Charlie Hunnam is, who, by all accounts, is a second tier celebrity.
Okay, I've seen his face.
He's not.
I look him up. Yeah,
He's not Tom Cruise. Okay, excuse me, but he is very famous. He's been the lead in several popular movies.
I feel
popular
like,
box office wise, at least.
I feel like it's an odd way that you're defending him. I think you really like him.
Dude, I'm into him. Yeah.
Are you?
Oh, yeah, I want him. I need him. I want his body.
I want him.
I want his 40 pound.
my
I
goodness.
want his 40 pound heavier body. where he's
Hey,
got all
you
the
know what
muscles.
though? He and I are the same age. I found that out.
Well,
Yeah,
dang.
believe it or not.
Yeah. So what's your excuse?
I don't know. I don't know.
Anyways, Charlie Hunnam, Papillon, lost 40 pounds. This is kind of I feel like this is an act. Like every actor has to do this at some point. Every guy, if they want to be taken seriously, there's the point in their career where they have to lose 40 pounds. Why is that so lauded by the acting community to do this massive weight loss thing? You think about The Machinist or whatever with Christian Bale.
Yeah, you ate an apple a day, I think, is all he did.
Christian Bale?
Yeah, I believe so.
One apple.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, that's a bummer.
I know.
Yeah.
I wish I could do that.
Yeah, I don't.
Not get down that far, but just for a while.
But why? Well, anyways, why do you think that? Why is this such a cool thing for people to do?
I don't think it is.
Okay.
I don't think it's necessary. I don't know who's making them do that. I don't know if it's their own choice. I can't imagine the director being like, "We need you to look like a straight up skeleton." I just can't imagine that being the case. But I don't know. Maybe it is.
Yeah, I don't know. I was gonna say, how is Charlie Hunnam still getting these starring roles in these movies? And I was gonna read his cast list here, or his IMDb filmography. But since you had no idea who he was and had never heard of any of the four really popular movies that I rattled off,
Really popular. Oh,
Pacific Rim. Pacific Rim is not a
Okay.
popular movie. That is
Well, I
a
don't
huge.
In the King Arthur movie.
The King Arthur movie was a
yeah.
summer
How much
movie.
did that do the opening weekend?
A little bit of a flop.
Let's look it up.
Crimson Peak was I think they got nominated for Oscars. He was part of that. Lost City of Z. That was a
Sons of Anarchy
That
was
was
probably
kind of
his
good.
biggest one.
Sons of Anarchy. He was in for 7 years or something like that.
Well, you can
He
you can
was
defend
Sons of
that on
Anarchy.
next week's television show that we get.
You ever seen Green Street Hooligans? You need to watch Green Street Hooligans. That's a really good
Have you
movie.
seen that?
What?
Green Screen Hooligans?
Green Street Hooligans.
Oh, Green Street.
Yeah, it's a movie about soccer in England. It's got Elijah Wood.
It sounds like a Sesame Street spinoff.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's Charlie Hunnam and Elijah Wood. All right, last but not least, really quick, abcnews.go.com. Ed Sheeran is playing himself in Danny Boyle's next unnamed film.
Yes, it's a sequel to The Hobbit, another one, I think. Is that right?
That was where for a second I was like, is it? And then I was.
But it would make sense,
First
right?
off, I don't think Danny Boyle is directing. I don't know. Maybe he is.
I don't know.
Maybe, but Ed Sheeran. I mean,
Well, he looks like a Hobbit, right?
he does. He does look very
There you
hobbitish.
go.
He has hobbitish features.
Yes.
Here's my question: Do we want Ed Sheeran to be a movie star? My answer is no.
He has
Why
a
can't
fan
you just
base.
let people try?
Yeah.
Well, we can let him try. He was the most distracting part of an episode of Game of Thrones last year.
Oh,
Was he?
yeah, I
He
forgot
wasn't
about
He
that.
wasn't that distracting.
It was 100% distracting. You're watching a fantasy show that you're 100% in on, and all of a sudden you're like, "Is that Ed Sheeran? What is he?" And all he was there was to play the lyre and sing a song or something like that with all the soul. Well, why would he do that? Why would they let him do that? I understand why he would want to.
Because he looks like a Hobbit.
I mean, I saw when
It
I
fits
watched
right
it.
in.
When I watched, it, I was like, "Oh, that's Peter Dinklage." That took me out of the show.
Yeah, but it's different when it's the characters of the show who are actors versus a musician who's in there as a very small tangential role, but the camera frames his face perfectly
Yeah.
so that he can sing a song. You can't tell me those are not different things. You go to a movie and you're like, oh, that's Tom Cruise. Okay, it's Mission Impossible. But if all of a sudden Taylor Swift was like the bank teller or something like that, it would be distracting to the rest of the movie.
That would be cool. There should be a thing where like celebrities just do like little cameos in movies like that.
Like no purpose.
Like
just,
no reason.
Yeah,
like
just to
bank
throw.
teller, taxi cab driver, something like that.
I think my point is that most directors would not want that to interfere with the story that they're trying to tell. Anyways, Ed Sheeran, whatever, good for him. I'm sure it won't be very much of a role, if anything. But I hope that he does not have much of a career because he needs to just make music and be a little
Man,
ginger that entertains the world.
Tell him what people to do.
More Charlie Hunnam, less Ed Sheeran. That's what I'm rooting for.
I guess.
Yeah. All right, we need to go to break. When we come back, we are going to do our group rewind of License
Man, I
to
can't wait.
Wed. Dick, are we gonna get some input from you in the next half here? You've been teching it up over there, man.
Yeah, I'm just trying to make sure this stuff works.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm excited to hear your opinions on License to Wed. Stick with us. We'll be back on the Ticket Stub.
Hispanic Chamber Connections with Dr. Carlos Sanchez, president of the Woodlands Conroe Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, featuring event announcements, member highlights, and more. Tuesdays at 1 p.m., broadcasting from the heart of Conroe, Texas on irlonestar.com and Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1.
Lone Star Community Radio is Montgomery County's radio station with talk, music, weather, and traffic for Montgomery County. Have a question, comment about one of our shows? Want to know how to reach a host? Just contact the station on irlonestar.com or call in and leave a message at 936-647-3776. Get involved with your community with Lone Star Community Radio.
Is there someone you know who is hooked on vintage aircraft? Follow the Commemorative Air Force and its fleet of World War II planes, including the mighty B-17 Flying Fortress Texas Raiders, which is based in Conroe, Texas. Texas Raiders tours locally and all around the United States, offering the public a chance to put their hands on aviation history. What could be a more perfect gift than a flight on a historic B-17? Taking to the sky on the iconic bomber is an experience that will never be forgotten. For the touring schedule, reservations, or more information, go to b17texasraiders.org or call 855-FLY-A-B-17.
The Ticket Stub is brought to you in part by Movie Tavern, with 2 locations serving the greater Houston area. 18359 Tomball Parkway, just north of Willowbrook Mall, and 9630 FM 1960 Bypass West, across from Deerbrook Mall. The Ticket Stub is sponsored by Movie Tavern. Movie Tavern. Movies never tasted so good.
Lone Star Community Radio is looking for those who are interested in hosting their own talk show. With monthly and weekly slots available on Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1, and on irlonestar.com. Start your own podcast, create your first YouTube channel, and be on TV. Contact Lone Star Community Radio online at irlonestar.com or call the station message line at 936-647-3776.
For those of you who like your partners, your gumbo, and your music salty, well, we're here to help with the music. Julian Shea here, host of Lone Star Country Nights Thursday, your weekly dose of roots and Americana and all the music that makes this part of the country special. We stir in Western swing, honky-tonk, Zydeco, Texas blues, outlaw country, and put a pinch of red dirt, and then we smoke it over a slow fire. Then listen to the results Thursday nights on Conroe's 104.5 and 106.1 and worldwide at irlonestar.com.
We're back on the Ticket Stub. If you missed this last segment, we talked about a lot of great things coming up, including next week, our interview with Chad Miller from The Last Man. Well, he saved The Last Man Standing.
Yes, he saved it.
He saved it for all of us. He is the hero we needed, but not the one we deserved. And we also did some extended movie news, talking about several great things. So go back and check that out. What we're going to do now is every month we do a group rewind of a movie that all 3 of us watch together. Typically, it's turned out to be kind of a punishment for some reason. I don't know why we're masochists and we like to suffer as a group. Maybe it's more fun to talk about. This week we did License to Wed. I do want to remind you before we go too far that the Ticket Stub is brought you by Movie Tavern. Movies never tasted so good. And every week we give away 2 tickets to the Grand Theater and Movie Tavern. You can tweet at us at @the_Ticket Stub. We'll give you the question at the end of the show for how you can win those tickets. License to Wed. I'll get us started here. I'll kind of set it up, and then we'll take it from there. We've got some photos that we'll be able to throw up, hopefully, on the Facebook Live and the YouTube Live, so that people can see some of the visuals we're talking about. But it is it is available on Netflix right now. It is from 2007. It's PG-13, hour and 31 minutes. That's the only good part of the movie, hour and 31 minutes.
I like
those 90-minute run times. Directed by Ken Kwapis, who has done really nothing else notable. It is starring Robin Williams, John Krasinski, Mandy Moore. And the IMDb plot says a reverend puts an engaged couple through a grueling marriage preparation course to see if they are meant to be married in his church. And before I throw it to you guys, I will say that the reason why I wanted us to watch this movie is because in college, one of my roommates watched this and has ever since declared it his least favorite movie of all time.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't go that far.
I didn't feel like this movie needed anything. Like, I wouldn't even apply it. I'd be like, yeah, it's like Walmart dollar bin.
Okay. All right. Anyways, I'm just telling you, that's what he says. I think he's very logical. My friend is very reasonable. And this movie is the antithesis of those two things. It is illogical and unreasonable. And I think that is frustrating to no end for him. So, let's just throw it out there and kind of see where this takes us. If you're listening, I hope that you watched License to Wed. If you didn't, every month when we do the group rewind, it's hard to say group rewind.
Grape rewind.
The group rewind. Please watch the movie along with us. And if you did watch it, send us a tweet or a Facebook message right now. We'll let you join in on the conversation, and that'll be a fun way to engage the show. Chris, thoughts? License to Wed.
It definitely was a movie. It had opening credits.
It did.
It had some stuff that happened in the middle. And at the end, there were end credits.
There were, yeah.
I love those robot babies that were in it. We already talked about it. Usually we go scene by scene, but this one, I don't know if...
No, we just need to talk about this movie.
Yeah, just talk about it.
There's no structure to it.
I guess quickly, let's just say...
Let me find the robot
John
babies.
Krasinski and Mandy Moore are going to get married. Mandy Moore decides it's very important to her to have it at her church she grew up at, where Robin Williams is the pastor, her reverend. And he is a buffoon and a clown, and he puts them through this marriage training course where it seems like he's trying to break them up the entire time.
It does, yeah.
Yeah, very, very much like he is against their marriage. Very specifically against John Krasinski for, I don't really know why he hates him.
Like when they were playing catch.
And he was throwing it so hard.
Well, no, they constantly went the angle of he's like a psychotherapist or whatever, doing alternative methods to bring out an emotion or a realization inside each character to better themselves. So if you look at every time he talked or was doing something, he was trying to do it for the outcome of bettering the relationship.
But don't you feel like everything was mostly against John Krasinski?
Well, I think that was kind of the focus because she was, she's part of the church, and I think it was more on him.
She was, but she hadn't been in like 12 years. Why isn't she mad at him for never attending church?
Look, I think that's important to kind of talk about things that kind of were really weird about the movie, and they chose to go that route. Because I will say, the funny thing is currently in my life, I'm engaged. And
congrats! What?
I am engaged.
Yes.
And then we're doing the pre-marriage thing.
I also went through that as well.
I did. So it was really fun watching this movie with Holly.
But you have not attended a session yet.
We have not attended a session.
Is it one session or is it multi-session?
I think it's just it just depends on
how jacked up you are,
what we want to achieve, I guess.
Okay.
But I was because when I was doing the pre-interview process, I was like, is this therapy? I was like, I don't really think we're in trouble. I don't think that's why we go, hey, we need. It's more of it was just suggested, hey, do a pre-marriage thing.
It's for to help strengthen you, right?
So,
doesn't mean there's a problem.
The first thing that Holly even said is when she wanted, she let the reverend say, "Hey, you can't get married until you go through this class."
Yeah,
she's like, "That no, that's not going to happen." And then as the movie went on,
Krasinski was very anti the counseling.
Well, no, not that. I think it was more.
Who wouldn't be?
Well, if they knew what was ahead, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, another one.
A normal person would be were you really resistant to it?
I did not want to do it. No.
Really?
Would you say their relationship, Mandy Moore's and John, whatever, their relationship didn't seem like a really good relationship to
Very
me.
unhealthy, yeah.
Well, no, not even that, but they didn't even know if they wanted kids or not.
it seems like you should have probably had some of those conversations.
But it's almost like this John character goes, first things first, I just got to get engaged first, and then we'll figure that stuff out. And then he gets hit with, oh, we have 3 weeks. And then he's freaking out about it. And I guess one thing that I hate about movies like this is they present real-world scenarios, and they apply a layer of comedy to it, but they don't commit to the comedy. They have too much.
Give an example.
Well, like, for example, when he's taking care of the kids.
Okay.
And they're in the store
so
scanning
the Reverend gives them these babies you would get in high school or something like that.
Yeah, like
they are so much better.
well, no,
they are.
Yeah, it's like take an egg with you, and they throw up and all that stuff. But then
they have like pooping abilities and stuff.
Yeah, and then his best friend gives him his 2 kids to take care of.
Why did he do them both at the same time?
Well, I think that you find out later, like the Reverend goes, or Robin Williams' character made his friend do that to better the relationship. But
his friend is the worst friend you could ever have.
Again, well, again, you see in this scenario where they're in the department store scanning things or whatever, and she refuses to help him. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, there's no way this is like, if you're gonna apply some real like emotion to this movie instead of just be a slapstick Will Ferrell movie, like you can't do that because that's like a total like this whole movie. I was like, this woman's a B. This woman is such a B, like not even at all paying attention to her husband or her fiance.
Which I guess was her like character flaw ultimately or something like that she didn't give him at the end when they're on the beach.
Oh, she didn't consider him
that she always went to her gay boyfriend, best friend or whatever instead of her actual fiance for questions. And that was one of those things I didn't, because it was like almost like there was tension with the best friend, but then not really though, because he had like a girlfriend. He never hit on her. That would have been maybe an interesting place to take it. I thought at the very end when she was like, yeah, and I don't know why he says that I'm always coming to you for advice. And the guy was like, well, you see. And I wanted him to say, I love you or something, or like spice it up a little bit. But instead he's like, do you ever consider his feelings?
Well, I mean, like, especially the avenues this movie chose to take, it was almost, it's like a movie that you just get frustrated with because you think they're going to go with her best man or her maid of honor is her as a man who is successful, has a nice car, is constantly pointed out how cool he is, and they didn't even go with anything with it. It was just like, oh, like they didn't even like say that he was gay or anything like that. It was just
like, why was he there? He was like the character in Meet the Parents that Owen Wilson plays, except for it didn't get like taken to the funny place that it should have. There was like a couple of random scenes where he's thrown in there.
To give you a movie that does it better is Meet the Parents. Or Meet the Fockers or whatever, like that series. No, I'm saying like with the family kind of stuff. Like, for example, did y'all walk away from this movie thinking those parents her parents are still like, kind of mean or like?
Well, they're terrible, but also
like
why are they not still pissed at Ben is his name and Sadie in the movie? Ben and Sadie are John and Mandy Moore. But like, there's that one scene where they're all airing their grievances or whatever. Which, first off, that would never happen in a million. You wouldn't just like be like, I think you're rich and stuck up in an evil, B word. Oh. Like, you would never lose your cool like that, and like where you couldn't control what you say. But all of a sudden, they're just all fine. But the family sucks. Everyone sucks, kind of.
Well, and especially with Christina Taylor, who's married to Ben Stiller, the sister character. I was like,
dude, they trashed her so hard.
I was like, I can't believe no one's sitting here. And I guess what they should have done is had the main man reach out to her and try to help her.
Yeah,
and show that some character with John I can't pronounce Krasinski's character.
Ben, you can call him Ben.
Ben, like they never did that.
In the first scene, the dad's like, "And we're so proud of you for moving back home and being with us more. It's very great to have you in our home." Just, come on.
Well, it is. It feels like one of those movies that wasn't ironed out in the screenplay area, and they just didn't really figure out what they wanted to do. The only thing they were excited is Robin Williams signed up to do the movie.
And they let him do his Robin Williams thing. The outtakes had several of those moments. Just a couple.
He was really good. I would say, like, every scene he was in, he was entertaining.
He was the best. He stole every scene he was in for sure, which is what Robin Williams, I think, does.
Did anybody else notice that pretty much the entire cast of The Office is in the movie?
Yes, I was gonna say that there was like 4 or 5 Office characters in this movie.
Well, it was written by a woman who wrote like All About Steve and other horrible movies.
Did she write for The Office?
No,
because that was distracting. Because
it was distracting.
As a big fan of The Office, you see John Krasinski. Okay, that's fine. And all of a sudden, Mindy Kaling is there, and you're like, well, that's kind of weird.
Yep.
And then Kevin from The Office is there, and you're like, okay, now we've got a quorum here. This is strange. And then Angela from The Office shows up also, and I just. you know,
Well,
I guess they're friends, or there must maybe Krasinski was in charge of casting.
Well, I think once The Office ended, they were so hard up for having to do something. I think they just threw him in this
no,
movie.
I think this movie was made while The Office
Was it really?
on.
Yeah,
it's
2007 was like, this is a prime Office.
Okay.
2006-07 was like prime Office.
And I guess what weirds me out is they present these scenarios to this character Ben, and it never goes this way. Like my favorite one was the one when he gets this ring made, and he gets it engraved.
Oh gosh, this was
And,
so
like-
frustrating.
I love that.
This was so frustrating.
I
Well,
love
yeah.
that part though.
Well, yeah, but like I said, like if you're gonna commit to do the
As soon as he said
slapstick-
never depart, I was like, all right, not gonna work.
So good.
Because like who on earth would, if I owned a jewelry store and they were like, hey, we're doing engravings, never to fart,
Yeah, he put
Like-
never depart on the page, and they engraved never to
and
fart.
they never considered, oh, maybe we need to call him to double check this because that sounds ridiculous.
Well, to be fair, they kind of mentioned that because the guy's like, we get some weird requests in here, and we just read what's on the
Yeah.
page.
Yes.
yeah, well,
I love that though. I know y'all hated that joke. I love that. I love that.
Well,
joke.
and, okay, but then what's frustrating is at the end.
they didn't
No,
get it.
no, at the end when they get married, he's like, "Oh, I forgot to change it." She goes, "Never to fart." No, you're not allowed to change it. But she doesn't know the joke. Like, why does she doesn't know anything? All she knows is that at her wedding, she's given a ring that says "Never to fart," and he doesn't explain the fact
And-
that he wrote "Never to
so-
fart." Maybe she's like a super deducer and was like, "Oh, I bet he put deduce, yeah. Oh, I bet he put part," and they wrote fart. She's just like,
I feel also with this Ben's character, they talk about like who you are and like how you handle scenarios and how they met, and they kind of played on like everything bad happens to this guy all the time. It's like an accident. He's like one of the, I don't know what there's a term for it where like, oh, you slip and you hit. Like you hit a ball and that ball rolls and hits something else that causes somebody else to break their ankle. That causes an accident.
Yeah.
Whatever. And I'm like, how is this guy not in a psych ward if he's constantly going through life getting crapped on?
yeah.
Because like every scene he's in, he's getting crapped on by stuff, and I'm like, man, I would get so frustrated. I wouldn't even go outside.
That's
I'd
what
be like, screw it, I'm not going outside. Because
That's kind of what I'm saying, because everything I felt like was geared anti him. And this is part of what I don't like about just kind of some of where entertainment goes nowadays is I know that men rule everything and we have to anti the patriarchy and stuff, but like commercials, movies, it's all about like how incompetent the man is all the time. Now the woman was kind of a jerk, I think, but Krasinski,
no, she's horrible.
yeah, she was terrible, but she was never a bumbling fool or incompetent, where he was almost at every single turn,
Yeah.
right? And it's just like who is this guy, and what are these situations he's finding himself in? And just, I think part of why this movie's frustrating is because zero part of it rings true in any way, shape, or
Oh,
form.
I loved how they made a big deal about the investigation. Because they said that several words, like, oh, I have investigated something that I want to tell everybody about. So in the plot line, if you haven't seen the movie, is Robin Williams basically just berates Ben, the character Ben, the whole time,
And purposely does
they
things to
bug,
ruin their
They
marriage.
bug the house, so
Yes.
they have that.
Okay, we didn't even mention the little.
No, it's not talking about
Sorry.
that yet.
Okay.
And then so what's crazy to me is Ben's character's like, I gotta find dirt on this guy. So they show him at like the library looking at old newsreels.
The greatest line. The
And
greatest
his-
line was
and
the,
its best friend and him have code words like when we talk about we gotta call you the landing eagle and all that kind of stuff to find out. And then he even breaks an entering into Robin Williams' house.
Yeah.
And he finds the divorce papers, and he's like, oh man, he's been divorced. Like, I don't understand how that's like, oh, this kind of that nulls this whole counseling because a man's been divorced.
Yeah. Well, I think he had said he'd never been married or something like that.
Well, I
So
didn't catch
so
that.
he's a liar.
But then he has this whole reveal, like he makes this point of like making an investigation, and I'm thinking, so the twist is he got married to this lady for a green card. How does he not do any more investigation work to find that one
Yeah,
out?
he stopped at the divorce.
Yeah, I'm like, really? You're not gonna like talk to this lady or find this lady or figure that out? And that's one thing I just like. Dude, this movie just doesn't give you what you think you'd be getting the whole time.
I think
They're leading that way and then they don't finish it.
one of my favorite lines comes in the library scene when they're trying to find out that he was divorced before, and his friend, who's the ridiculous character in this movie, said, if that chowder chomping woman can do this, and Krasinski goes, are you talking about Angela Lansbury? And then it just cuts like what? Like a murder shoot. Yeah, I mean, I know they're talking about
Again,
murder
like
shoot.
the
but,
writing has
what?
not been ironed out.
I just loved
And
how
what-
ridiculous
What
that
did
was.
you think of it? Like the scenes with his best friend and his relations with his wife.
So terrible. He's like, all I know that's true is that that's my wife and this is my beer. And he's like, what?
and I'm
Everything
glad-
else is a blur.
Well, I'm glad that they had that scene with him and his best friend saying like, "You give the worst advice. You're the worst."
Yeah.
But then I'm like, why are you friends with this guy? Because is it out of convenience? Like you both just like drinking beer at the same bar, like
or on the same rooftop.
Yeah, like I don't get it. And
let's not overlook the fact that the Reverend had a sidekick.
Yes.
Who was probably 12 years old, morbidly obese. Just throwing that in there, just for a visual image for people. Had no school. He didn't attend, or did he attend the little school at the church? Or
he was part of the young pastors program.
I know,
or
but what is
something.
that? He had 24/7 access.
He did
to hang out one-on-one with the Reverend.
Well,
I don't want to gloss over any weirdness that exists in the church world. But this young boy is being mentored by the weird marriage Reverend.
And the Reverend has him break laws.
Yes.
And the boy apparently is an expert at using credit cards to break into apartments. I mean, that's just like yada, yada, yada. By the way, he can easily get in to bug things.
Yeah.
They're doing overnight stakeouts. I'm just saying, I
think they couldn't afford Danny DeVito. And so they
got
chose
someone in the same
kid.
body shape.
Yeah, I think so.
A couple great lines from Robin Williams in this. He was like kind of a crass, bad talking Reverend. He would say like kind of sexually explicit things, but they were kind of spiritualized or whatever. He said, and at one point they're playing the 10 Commandment Family Feud game, and he said like, "Come on, Manny, make your two moms proud."
Yeah.
And then he said that one of the sins starts with coveting and ends with the clap. That's one of his parts that he says to a group of kids.
Well, you know what?
He says, "Let's get the flock out of here." That's another one.
We gotta bring this to the table too. And I was kind of curious. Besides the commandment thing, immediately when I saw, it, I was like, "This only has a one-time use." Because you're only doing the 10 Commandments. So
he built that whole set for this.
that. But it made me think of you, Connor. And I know that your field of work is in the religious sector.
True.
So when you're watching this movie, I feel like what happened too when they wrote this, they didn't want to make him religious because there's too many easy jokes there. So they're trying to have Robin Williams just be a counselor or like something. But then they
had to be part of a church. I guess
had to like figure all this stuff out.
But aren't you a marriage counselor?
No.
Am I not right?
No. I've done a little bit of that.
Oh, okay. Just leave that out conveniently.
Oh, well, sorry. I mean, I've done a little bit, but I'm not married, so I don't know. I feel weird when I talk. Anyways,
well, I meant more of the religious standpoint because, like, to me.
But I work in the religious field for sure, and what I think is that they wanted him to be religious, but whoever wrote this had like some snarky religious background or something. Like they have some sort of history with religion because he was religious, but at no point did he ever like say anything remotely actual spiritual, right? I mean, everything he said that was about God was like snarky or like or something like,
someone read the Cliff Notes.
Yeah, if you follow God or else you get the clap, things like that that no one would ever actually say. And then all the other stuff he said was just like practical life advice. So I think a product of the plot is he had to be religious, but the person who made this or wrote this probably doesn't like religion or has a bad experience. That's just my take because it was not at all, there was no like positive religious portrayal in my opinion.
Well, especially you think this movie would gradually go up in ridiculousness. No, like it starts right off the bat when Ben's character, the Ben character, goes to meet the Reverend for the first time, and they play catch, and then he breaks his nose because he wasn't paying attention. The dude threw a fastball.
Which, by the way,
but then like the
whole overlooked.
Well, I mean, like, and I don't know how. And this is again like
and then the healing scene where he puts the glove on his head. What?
Well, yeah, like
I think we have a picture of that.
I got that pulled up, and I was just like, when do you sit here and just take it, and when does it become comedy? Yeah. And I guess that's my issue because I was like, I just didn't think it was that funny. Like especially the driving scene where they blindfolded Moore.
That's just dangerous, by the way.
It was, yeah.
That's just pure danger.
And I the whole scene, I was like, what is this supposed to do for me? Because this isn't funny. Like she could almost hit all these people, almost hit the old man. And I think it would have been funny if Ben's character was the one on the other side doing the driving, like doing the helping her. But Ron Williams basically says like you need to guide her, and then you need when she needs you to be there, you be there. And then like so he could draw, you know what I'm talking about, so he could take over, but like. Don't try to be there all the time. I don't know how to put it in the way of...
Let Jesus take the wheel, man. That's what he should have said. He was a real reverend.
Well, then I was like, how can this scene work better? Because it didn't make any sense. Like, you don't blindfold somebody, put them in the driver's seat, and says, "Trust, like, be her eyes, Ben." Yeah. Like, no one's ever going to be able to do that.
Right.
I want to see the version of this movie where it doesn't all tie back together in the last 3 minutes, but where everyone's life is just ruined. Because it
ended like that.
It ended so fast. So I wrote that down, like, this movie ended very abruptly, but the ending was very welcome. That's what I wrote. I was very excited for it to end, but it was like, it was seriously 3 minutes, everything was in shambles, and then it was wrapped up.
No,
they were married. They were happy.
Oh,
Yep.
fart joke. Ha, 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 ha.
Never-
And then it's like, hey, Robin, how you doing? You're doing well. You did well, kid. Good job.
Yeah, now they're
The
all best.
end.
Then they're all best friends. Yeah, and then all of a sudden it's like, may I have my daughter for this dance? Oh, we love each other. The credits, the outtakes, boom. But yeah, I want to see where he said he had like 100% success rate. Baloney. All right. Yeah, right. I want to see the version of this where like the people didn't all go to Cabo and get married and write the vows in
did
the
the sister
sand.
not go through it?
Oop, I guess not because she got divorced.
Well, he said he had 100% success rate for people that completed the course.
Oh, okay.
But I mean I think probably the craziest thing in the story, because there's a lot of opportunities for gags and things like funny moments, and some movies do it really well and some movies don't. Like this movie did not do the gags well, especially with the bugging of the room and how because they try to do too many real world problems and things in the movie, so you have to like connect real world logic to it.
Yeah.
And this person, they bugged their house. And then when that comes to light, no one cares.
It's totally overlooked.
Totally.
Because he didn't write his vows.
And yes,
Because-
which to me was hilarious.
Because
by
they
the
weren't
way.
even the
Like,
wedding
the
day
fact
yet.
that was a plot point. Oh, you have 2 days left. You haven't written your vows. I hate you.
Yeah.
Like how? What?
First off, it wasn't even the deadline that was given, which is such a woman thing to do, which is to say you need to have them written by this date, and then if they're not done 2 days in advance, you get in trouble.
Yeah.
But on top of that, it's like, dude, just write something down. Like, what? He had the whole scene where he's sitting there like, I don't know, and then he falls asleep.
Well, he's the drawing. Okay, you didn't get that whole reveal scene.
He did draw the monster truck or whatever,
Yeah.
which is pretty tight, by the way. She
Yeah.
totally was pissed about that, and I'm like, dude, that's pretty cool. I was thinking about like,
But then she became
obsessed.
okay with it and then liked it.
She
I was
became like a beautiful mind afterwards, and she's like
Yep.
scribbling like in dark ink on her little notepad of all the different monster trucks and how she missed him so much.
And I love moments in stupid rom-coms where it's like, let's do the most outlandish, hold the speakers above your head, and
Yeah, he wrote
like
the-
he wrote some of it in the sand.
in perfect handwriting, by the
Yeah.
way.
Oh,
How
yeah,
did he
kidding.
do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I like to think it was fake sand on wooden blocks.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, how do they do that? Because it's all like perfect.
And
there's no footprints
No
on it.
footprints.
Yeah.
I don't know, but that was pretty impressive.
And
Anyways,
did you see when she ran out? She just ran straight through the
yeah,
whole thing.
screw you. He spent like all night making
Yeah.
that.
again, I feel like
And how
this
did he get in the
movie-
middle? How did he get in the very middle?
I
of it?
don't know.
I feel like this movie, whoever wrote it, like had a bunch of great ideas, and then it's like, you know what? We're not ironing it out. We're all putting them together. We're gonna go for it.
Great is a
Because
stretch.
I mean, Rob Williams was really good in this movie. Like this movie wasn't poorly acted at all.
Yeah,
It was just poorly put together.
I thought Mandy Moore was good.
she was hot. Yeah, anymore and
And
good.
okay, again, was another thing that always blows my mind is how do these people have this much free time?
I wrote that down. Do they work? Do they have jobs? Because they're
Yeah.
always available. Seems to have endless funds to all just fly to Jamaica on last minute trips. All of them.
Well, I get that because that's like a one in a lifetime. This is about my
But
wife
he-
kind of thing.
Yeah, but he said, hey, you need to take your honeymoon. But her whole family went. They would have only had 2 plane tickets to Jamaica. So the rest of the family just came in and also bought.
you didn't get that the family was wealthy.
Okay,
That's what-
but none of them do any. Like you can all just on a day's notice go.
But don't you think that Robin Williams maybe had them go down there knowing that this was going to work out? Because it seemed like he knew it was going to work out.
Well, he did, but how did he make the whole family go?
Well, no, I think when I saw that, because the opening scene, them in Jamaica, because basically at this point in the movie, folks, they break up, and someone encourages her. He encourages. Robin Williams goes, "You got those tickets still to Jamaica? Take someone with you." So I thought she took her dad, and I was like, that's kind of an odd choice. But then it was the whole family
Took
was
the whole
there,
family.
and then the boyfriend or the best
Yeah.
friend boyfriend kind of thing. And I was just like, all right, this movie, what's going on? And
Yeah. Well, it all works out. It's very sweet. It's an inspirational story. We got to get the flock out of here, guys. So, yeah, you like that? So, anyways, License to Wed. It's on Netflix. If you thought what we were saying sounds funny, or you want to kind of hate watch a movie, License to Wed would definitely be one that you could hate watch and pick apart. The scene with the babies is worth it just to see the mechanical.
It's really great,
and
I think.
And I think they actually made those like
They
those,
did?
Yeah, I mean,
They were
like,
really robot babies.
yeah, I want to talk to the person who did that because that would be kind of interesting to hear about. Anyways, License to Wed, that's our group rewind for the month. Next month we'll come out with another one. We do want to give away 2 tickets to the Grand Theater Movie Tavern. We do it every week here on the Ticket Stub. Oh, the question in honor of The Nun, which is a scary movie coming out this week. What franchise is The Nun tied to? It's tied to an overall scary movie franchise. This may be a little bit of, I don't know if this is obvious or not. but it's tied to a movie franchise. So what is that? Send us an email, theticketstubpodcast@gmail.com.
Is it licensed to wed?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the prequel. This is how Robin Williams got his reverendship. He had to go to the Nun Academy. But you can tweet us at @_TicketStub, Facebook,
why did we
Ticket
choose
Stub
this
Podcast.
movie?
Because it was my friend's most hated movie of all time, and
I was trying to figure out where that came from.
I saw it on Netflix, and I was like, ah.
All right, do we know what the next movie is gonna be?
I don't think we've picked one yet. We need to do that.
So people, right now, if you're watching live,
Tweet us one.
Go to our social media and stuff. We're gonna be posting it today.
Yeah.
What the rewind for September will be, and things like that, right?
Yeah, we need to do the fishbowl idea where we all put 5 in and we do a live drawing on air of what the next month will be.
We got a lot of big things coming. Big things.
Big things in the tank. On Sunday, we're going to do the Chase and Parker American Fish Trap Houston premiere. And then next week here on the show, we've got Chad Miller, the guy who saved Last Man Standing. He is the savior of the Last Man Standing. Excited to talk to him a little bit.
Which premieres September 28th on Fox.
All right. September 28th. Thanks, Chad. We'll also be doing more fun, more games, more movie news, and we'll have more tickets to give away. Be sure you're telling a friend about the Ticket Stub. Leave us a great review, subscribe, and share those Facebook Live posts, guys, because that does huge help for us when other people are seeing us on Facebook. Anyways, we'll catch you next week. Thanks for tuning in. For Chris, for Dick, my name is Connor. We're signing off on the Ticket Stub.
Is that all you got? Let's begin.